Hey guys, Gabe with Colorado Pack Company. I was going to show you, I had a question the other day about horseshoeing in the mountains. So I take a bag about like this if I'm going on a 10-day trip in the mountains. I don't take all this stuff if I'm going on a short trip. So nippers, I take a ball peen hammer for shaping, something a little bit heavier. Sometimes I'll take an axe instead. I take a whole bunch of shoes. We'll get into that in a minute. I take pullers. I take a set of crimpers just to be sure I can get those suckers on there tight. Usually up in the rocks. Well, if you're riding in the rocks, you can hear the shoe get loose on the rock. And then you can just get off and fix it before it comes off, even if you got to add another nail or something. I take a shoe and hammer with me. That's pair of dikes for removing nails out of old horseshoes. Comes in pretty handy if you're trying to get the nail just right. Hoof knife. These are awesome for pulling. They're nail pullers. If you haven't seen them, they roll. The little tips are made just to go right down into the hole right there and get a hold of the nail and pull it out. So if you've got a nail you need to reset, you can do that pretty easily. Take a box of nails. Here's that hoof knife cover. Just something to protect it a little bit. What else is in here? I got a clenching tool. Right now I got 2 hoof picks. Sometimes I have one of these on my saddle. A lot of times all this stuff will stay at camp like the whole time. Like, we don't hack it up and down the trail every day. And then I've got, that's a front shoe. I think it's a single lot there. I've got just a whole bunch of shoes that fit my critters. These are all used shoes that came off a horse that I have. You can have your farrier just get you a whole set of shoes. I'm going to show you in this other bag. Sometimes on a shorter trip, I just use this bag here, which this is just a handy go-to style bag. Got several pockets in it. So if I'm going on a shorter trip, I'll take a half file that's been sharpened on one end. It's my clenching tool, file, or rasp, nothing special. I'll take a hoof boot, ready, just a quick and dirty. Extra set of gloves. There's some hand warmers from a trip we did in the cold a little while back. So some vet wrap, that's always good to have along on the trail for humans or horses. And this is how I carry just a front and a back for each horse. We took 2 geldings on that last trip. Flour sack, tie them together with some wire so they don't make a lot of noise, and wrap them up good. Which, I'm looking for a particular tool here. Here it is. So on that short trip, I'll just take this little setup, which isn't much, but I custom made this set of pliers, added a hammer to it, changed it up a little bit, put a hoof pick on the end of it, or pry bar. I keep a few horseshoe nails tied to it, and then there's just a little bit of a few horseshoe nails there. That set of pliers is, I don't know, they're 20, 30, 50 bucks maybe, I don't know. And I just make it myself. Here's another half rasp I have stashed in there. I add that little piece of leather to it, just a little bit of padding when you're trying to utilize the tool. A lot of times up there, all you're doing is just shaping a little bit. I keep a file for my axes in this little kit too. Just in case you want to sharpen an axe, if you hit a rock or something, sure makes the day go by better with a sharp axe. And then I keep a little bit of wire in there for that hoof boot. Up here in the front of these hoof boots, they have a little spot that you can lock them, and you lose that little piece of wire, you're going to need another one. So little bit of wire, heavy duty galvanized wire. Works the best for that particular item. In this shorter term bag, which always goes on the 10-day trips too, I've got fire starter, just a little easy go-to. Tic Tac case full of rivets for repairs. Nothing special, but with that ball peen hammer and the pair of, with these, you can pretty much get the rivet where it needs to be. You can use a horseshoe nail as an awl and just make you a hole. Put your rivet through it, some more baling wire. That roll's almost shot. It's been there. Take an SOS pad for cleaning the water filters out, or pots and pans. This stuff's always pretty handy. These are for my high line. You can wrap them around that high line a few times and make a Prusik knot, which works real well and doesn't slide on the high line. So a couple extras of those thrown in that bag. Nothing, again, nothing special. Rags, either for washing up, or if you get some kind of a wound on something, you can at least clean it off and see where you're at. You use them to apply pressure. Again, just little stuff to make the trip better. Big old garbage sacks that can turn into raincoats. I take a brush for brushing the horses. There's another SOS pad. They come in pretty handy. You can cut them in half. My favorite, Gorilla Tape. Here's some SWAT. This is a horse ointment for flies. Put it in their ears usually is where it's the worst of it. But if you got bad flies, you can calm your horses down, especially if they're tied up for a long time, or you got some bad flies. This is nice to have through there. Through a trip. What else is in this bag? I think this top is just loaded with gauze. Got 2 different things of gauze, some hand wipes, a couple of cough drops. That'll help too if you're nervous. You just need something. You put a cough drop in your mouth, the gauze. I had these wild rags made a couple years back. Kate over at So Punchy, she didn't make them custom for me with my logo on them. And this one's huge. Make an arm sling out of it. Wrap something up. You get something on the side of your head. Bang by a stick. Tie that sucker on there. Right? You can make an arm sling like that out of it. A triangle bandage essentially. Wrap it around your leg. Just something easy. They're silk. They're soft. You can make a pillow out of it. Put your coat in it and tie it up. Makes a nice pillow at night. Then you get into some other medicine stuff that I carry for the horses. Another pair of gloves. I don't like to be running out of gloves. Pen in case I need to write myself a note. Let's get into this other medicine side here. All just stuff I've gathered over the years, you know. Stuff that comes along, comes in handy. Whole bunch more string. Put up a tent, tie up a saddle, and a lighter. Little plastic bags, a garbage sack, and some Ziplocs. Nice to put your fish in. Silver honey, topical wound ointment. Here's another first aid wound. This has lanolin in it, so it's pretty natural. Both of those are. I'm not a big fan on unnatural topical wound treatment. This is nice. You can put it on there thick. If you need to put a little gauze over it with a vet wrap around something. Horses tend to get their legs and whatnot into things up in the mountains. Just like the fly spray for the horses, I take some pretty decent 3M up there just for me, because if I get frustrated and mosquitoes are biting me all the time, then my attitude changes and that changes the horse's attitude. And then I don't know if I can get this open, but this is a little tiny sewing setup here. It's a needle, a little bit of thread, all needle. You can fix something. I just tucked it into a piece of plastic pipe. Again, nothing special, but I can make a repair with it. My shaps come apart or need to sew a halter up or something. It's pretty easy, quick. Again, short trips, right? If I'm going on a longer trip in that horseshoeing bag, I'll take an actual roll of thread with me. This stuff is called mule tape, and it's pretty darn easy to make repairs with because you can push that needle through them really easy. Double it over and make you a little piece to repair with. Needle and thread, just another quick. Sometimes I'll just throw this into my pocket, in my jacket pocket or something if I'm going on a day ride. Another lighter. I don't like to be short on lighters for some reason. I carry this type of an awl. Just has a spool in it there, and you can add more thread to it. Pretty much sew up anything I've got on the mountain. Nice little file, triangle file. Again, you can sharpen an axe. Here's a longer awl, an ice pick actually, which is pretty handy if you're trying to repair something major. Good for cleaning things out too. I don't know what else I got stashed in here. A couple extra needles. Just a little tiny piece of leather left over from some project. So I'll throw this in. It's always in the horse trailer, but sometimes I'll throw it in if I'm going on a longer trip. Or if I'm going with somebody that their tack hasn't been reviewed very well. I'm not sure if they're going to make the trip. I'll take something in a little bit more. Here's another fire starter system that I like to keep in there if the lighters don't work. I've never been in a place where it's so cold the lighter doesn't work. But if you take one of these little match containers, fill it full of matches, and then tuck a little bit of toilet paper on the top of it there, like that. I've got sandpaper in there for striking the matches on. Put that together. That keeps it from rattling, that toilet paper. Makes for a nice fire starter. Just a tiny little deal. I got these all over the place. Green ones, orange ones. I also carry a wax candle. You get that candle fired up. One, it produces some heat in your tent. Two, it stays going for a lot longer than a spark. You can put pieces of kindling over it until you get those kindling lit up and get them into your fire. Just a pretty easy way to get a fire going if you have a candle. And you get out of the rain, get that sucker lit up, and then work on your fire. You know, once you've got some dry stuff gathered up. You can even dry out a little bit of tinder if you need to with the candle and then get it going. It's amazing what one little candle will do when you're up there in the dark by yourself. I was going to show you my headlamp too. I carry a couple different headlamps, but this one's been my favorite. I keep this in my vest pocket most of the time, right with me. I also try and keep my GPS deal on me all the time in my chaps pocket or in my vest pocket, protected. I only turn it on now and then, about once a day, but I keep it on my person versus on my horse. Same thing with the whole gun knife situation. You put that on your horse and it runs off, and you're up there, no good. So better just to keep that on your person. So that covers the horseshoeing bag, the horse medical bag that I take with me, covers some of the personal stuff I run. You can modify anything, guys. If you don't like something the way it is, you just make yourself a tool. I mean, just figure it out and make something that works good for you. I can pull a shoe with these. I can nail a shoe on with these. I can bend the shoe back. I find me a rock and get it bent back. So even though this is a small tool, it does a bunch of jobs up there for me, right? Figure it out. Thanks, guys.